What's up, XDefiant fans? It is Preach as always. So, you probably already know that Ubisoft and XDefiant put out a debrief today going over the content and game changes coming for Season 1 starting tomorrow, July 2nd. This will include a lot of patches that they gave us in the patch notes today that weren't necessarily in the debrief. So I'm going to briefly cover what you really need to know in this video. Now, I came home from work today to two sick kids. So I wasn't going to get this video out, but I promised in my video earlier today that I would. So I want to get that done for you. Throughout the week, we will have more videos going more in depth into some of these subjects, but I don't want to do that here and turn this into an hour and a half long video. Now, before we start talking about Season 1, if you guys like this video, you already know what to do. Smash that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new here, and turn those bell notifications on if you want to know every time I post a new video. Now, let's start this out by talking about the biggest addition that we are getting in XDefiant with Season 1, and that is the new faction, GSK. GSK is based off of Rainbow Six Siege, and this is going to be a very defensive-based faction. Its abilities are designed to help you hold a zone or control an area of the map more as the defender than as the aggressor. So let's briefly touch on the abilities for the GSK faction, and we are definitely going to be making another video specifically on this faction because one of these abilities I am very curious to see exactly how it is going to play out within the game. Their passive ability is that they negate headshot multipliers. If you don't know, when you shoot someone in the head in XDefiant, your weapon has a certain multiplier attached to it that gives you extra damage for headshots with the intent to reward accuracy in gunfights. However, due to the large helmet that the GSK faction is wearing, this damage boost will not apply at all when shooting a GSK member in the head. The first of the two optional abilities is called Shockwire. This looks like a bundle of electrified barbed wire that you can put down to prevent an enemy from crossing. We had something like this in Black Ops 4. Players will likely use this in doorways or in certain paths to funnel enemies in the direction they want them to go. You can destroy this by meleeing it, but it will slow you down significantly. The shock wire gets 3 charges to be used one at a time on a 17-second timer. This is 51 seconds worth of use. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to balance out with the cooldown before you can use it again. Maybe your cooldown doesn't start until your previous shock wire is gone. But this seems like something that you could have out for most of the match, which is a little bit concerning to me. And we're going to need to see how that actually plays out starting tomorrow. The second of the two optional abilities is called the ADS. The ADS is essentially a trophy system if you're familiar with Call of Duty. The ADS will block all equipment usage, such as grenades, EMPs, etc., and it has unlimited blocks, only operating off of a timer, meaning that if an enemy doesn't shoot it to destroy it or a dead set faction member doesn't hack it, it can block an unlimited number of equipment for 25 seconds. It can also be attached to walls and ceilings and doesn't just have to be thrown on the floor, which means you can attempt to hide it from enemy players to keep it from getting destroyed. Finally, the ultimate ability for the GSK faction is called the G52 Tactical Shield. This shield can not only block enemy fire, but it has a flash panel on the front of it that can blind enemies similar to throwing a flashbang. This flash is on a time charger that you can see when it is ready by a green LED lighting up across the inside of your shield. Along with the shield and the flash, you're equipped with your 93R burst fire pistol that has 60 rounds in it. You will not need to reload it all for those 60 rounds, but once they are gone, they're gone. That's it. They haven't shown us an actual timer, but this ultimate appears like it lasts quite a while, but that could be deceptive based off of the footage that they showed. So, as you can tell by those abilities, this faction was designed for that player that is really trying to lock down those zones on the map and prevent the enemy team from getting in. So, if you are solo queuing and really trying to win the game while your teammates are going for kills, this may be the faction for you. Now, this might not be that great an escort because a lot of your stuff that you put down is stationary things. Now, let's move on to the 3 weapons that are coming in Season 1, which I am personally much more excited about than the new faction. Let's start with the one I'm most excited about, and that is the new sniper rifle, the L115. First things first, it looks really nice. Secondly, even Aches said that it is already his favorite gun in the entire game, and he's not even someone that normally snipes a lot. So that's exciting. And the way they describe the L115 makes it essentially the exact sniper that I was hoping we would get. They said it is more powerful than the M44 and has a larger one hit kill zone than the M44, but is not quite as mobile. However, it is much more mobile than the TAC 50, yet has a slightly smaller one hit kill zone than the TAC 50. This makes the L115 the perfect middle ground sniper, and I think this is going to make the sniping community in XDefiant very happy. Obviously, we will primarily be seeing this sniper while players level it up, but even once all snipers are at max level, I think this will be the most used sniper out of the three that we will have in the game for now. Next is another gun that I think I'm going to love. The LVOAC assault rifle is a fast fire rate AR with better weapon handling as far as mobility is concerned than the other assault rifles, but having less range and significantly more recoil. In other words, this is basically an SMG with a touch more range. For me, I have primarily used SMGs since I started playing Call of Duty, and the games that saw me using ARs a little more often were the games that had guns like this new AR that we're getting right now that could handle the closer range, faster pace of play better than other assault rifles can. Think of the FAMAS from Black Ops 1 or the Maddox from Black Ops 4. It's kind of a tweener gun, and I love that out of an AR. I will probably use this gun a lot. Finally, the last gun we are getting this season is the sawed off shotgun. This is actually going to be a secondary weapon, and it deals less damage and has less range than the primary weapon shotguns do within XDefiant, yet also allows less movement speed than the other secondary weapons do within the game. So, in what situation should you use this gun? I think this will come in handy in several circumstances. For a sniper, if you have a hard time tracking a target in close range, especially considering no scoping isn't great with an XDefiant, this is a gun that you could pull out when enemies are just way too close for your sniper to be effective. But this isn't just for snipers. Let's say you get a kill and then deal a little damage to a second player nearby and run out of ammo. The one shot kill potential of this gun makes an ideal secondary to pull out to quickly finish off the kill before you have to reload. Now, let's talk about the maps. They're adding 3 new maps here in Season 1. 2 of them are the arena style maps for Domination, Occupy, TDM, etc. The third is a progression style map for modes like Escort and Zone Control. The first arena map is from Rainbow Six Siege and is called Clubhouse. They tried to stay faithful to the original map from Siege, but made changes to allow it to flow properly within XDefiant's gameplay style. The second arena style map is from the Division and is called Rockefeller. Rockefeller is going to be another close quarters map, which I think will be very popular among the player base. I believe the map is based off of the actual Rockefeller building in New York City. Finally, the progression map is from the Crew and is called Daytona. This is obviously based in Daytona, Florida. It is a bright, sunshiny map that, just like the other progression maps, has a lot of long lines of sight while also having segments that will require some close quarters combat. All 3 of these maps are pretty colorful and are visually pleasing to look at, which I think is something that the XDefiant devs have really nailed throughout the entire life of the game so far. Obviously, we won't know how well these maps play until we are on them, but from the footage shown in the X debrief, they look really, really nice. I do want to touch on a couple other things as we transition into the patch notes, but I don't want to spend a lot of time here since I will be making a lot more videos this week. The Battle Pass this season will be 90 tiers instead of 50, and has a lot of great looking faction skins and weapon skins, including one they kept showing on the TAC 50 that matches my channel colors for both of my channels. And this is one of the sickest weapon skins I have ever seen. Also, they showed a skin called Power Washer for the ACR that basically makes the gun look like a massive super soaker, and I love this. That is going to be my go-to ACR skin for sure. Ranked play will also be starting this season with 7 ranks of bronze, silver, gold, ruby, emerald, diamond, and legends, with legends players competing for a spot in the top 500. There will be 7 days where the playlist is available, but you won't be earning any rank as a way to practice playing with the rules that are specific to ranked play. And we're going to go over all of the details about those rules and those gameplay changes and how the ranks themselves works in a totally separate video later this week before ranked is officially open for grinding your MMR. So stay tuned for that if ranked is something that you're into. There are also two new game modes coming with season 1. Capture the Flag is the first mode coming and will be in unranked modes before eventually being added into ranked play. Later in the season, they haven't disclosed when this is going to be, but we are getting a search and destroy like mode called Bomb. From the gameplay footage, this looks like your standard single life per round. First team to win 6 rounds wins the game S&D mode. Finally, they're adding 3 new mastery camos. Level 4 is called Titanium Violet. Level 5 is called Titanium Azure, and both of these are sick. But level 6 is called Titanium Prisma, and the Prisma camo actually changes colors throughout the match. And I definitely need this on at least my sniper rifles, but probably my SMGs and ARs as well, because it looks incredible. Finally, let's go ahead and talk about these patch notes. Some of these changes are things the community has been begging for. And once again, Mark Rubin and friends prove that they are the best in the business when it comes to listening to the player base. I'm not going to read these notes verbatim because that will take forever. But what I'm going to do is just go over what exactly is changing. So, the first thing that is changing that is a big deal is all of your XP boosters have always been counting down even when you're in the lobbies. And now that is only going to count down while you're in the game. So, if you activate a 20-minute booster, then play a 10-minute game, and then spend 5 minutes in the lobby, you're not going to be wasting 5 minutes of that XP booster. It's only counting down in game now. And that is a huge W. I don't want to praise it too much because it's just how it should have been to start with, though, if we're being honest. They also lowered the weapon XP for the battle pass tiers where you don't have to earn as much XP to progress throughout the battle pass, which is going to just make it feel a little bit better going through that, not quite so grindy. Now, this is a weird change. They changed the match XP rewards. MVP and victory wins used to give you 2000 XP. This is down to 1000 now. Personally, I think that's a fail because that takes away one of the incentives that you had for winning. But something they did, and this is awesome, is completion of the match doubled from 2000 XP to 4000 XP, which gives players way more reason to actually go ahead and finish the game, which will hopefully fix some of this players backing out issue that just tends to plague all first person shooters. When players are having a bad time, they back out of the lobby. I'm one of them. I've done it. They also are planning on putting a skull icon or some kind of headshot icon in the kill feed instead of just your gun if you get a kill by a headshot, because this just looks good. This is something the players have wanted, especially for those of us like me in the sniping community. This is something that we love. Now, this is where the real wins begin to happen. They increase the cooldown of Echelon's intel suit from 30 to 40 seconds, which means you're not going to have quite so many wall hacks on the map because it's got to wait at least 10 more seconds. This is going to make this happen a couple times less per match. They also did the same exact thing with the mag barrier for the Phantoms, while they also reduced the hit points that it takes to kill the mag barrier. The Aegis also now will take damage from EMP grenades, and 6 EMP grenades will destroy the Aegis shield now. So that's something you can actually combat against for once, and this is something that we have needed. Now, here is where some of the even bigger ones come into play. DedSec's hijack cooldown decreased from 28 seconds down to 20 seconds, meaning that hopefully DedSec players might actually start using this a little bit more than the Spider Bot because it's more viable now. But also, DedSec's Spider Bot cooldown increased from 25 seconds up to 40 seconds. This almost doubled, not quite, but almost doubled the length of time it takes before you can use another Spider Bot. Less Spider Bots on the map. Big win, big win, big win, Big win. That's the greatest thing, greatest news that came out of anything that happened today. All of the season one, all of the patch notes, everything. Spiderbot, not going to be on the map so much. Preach loves it. They also decreased the cooldown of the Bayavita boost from 25 to 20 seconds, making that a little bit more useful than it was before. And they fixed the Medico Supremo thing where it's not going to disappear after the player respawns somewhere else. So that's good. Now, here's where we're going to get into something that all of you guys are going to love, but I am going to hate. And that is because I love to snipe. So, they already added flinch to the snipers. And as you guys know, I said multiple times, I agreed that that needed to be done. But now they're actually going to change something with how flinch works. Part of this I love, part of this I hate. Flinch will now always kick upward and right and left and not kick downward at random like it was before. This is a great thing because downward flinch is almost impossible to combat and do anything about. However, the speed of the flinch is going to be increased by 25%. In other words, you're going to notice it 25% faster if you have a sniper rifle, and the distance that you kick left or right is being tripled. They're multiplying this by 3. In other words, they are making flinch exponentially worse. And I think it was in a good spot after the last patch. It was in a spot where if you were getting killed by a sniper you were shooting, they were having to make a good shot to do that, or you were just missing more bullets than you thought. Now I think it is probably going to be very hard to recover from flinch, like nearly impossible. And I think it should be something that takes skill but isn't impossible. So I'm very curious to see how this plays out. It might not be as bad as I'm thinking, but I am curious to know exactly how that is going to play out. They also added a new and improved visual effect for the flash grenade, making it where it's just not quite so intense and blinding. It was actually hurting players' eyes, which was a problem. So it's going to be, they said, less retina searing. And they removed an exploit where players could respawn with multiple devices after fiddling with the copy loadout options in the lobby. Thank the Lord. And if I can find the gameplay, but I think I already deleted it, I will show it. But my buddies and I actually dealt with this, and these guys were standing in their spawn on an escort game on Times Square, throwing nade after nade after nade after nade after nade after nade at us, and we couldn't do anything about it because they had unlimited grenades. So that was a massive problem. Anyway, that is all I want to talk about from the patch notes today. I know this has been a much longer video than usual. Hopefully you guys stuck around. It was a lot to cover, and there's going to be a lot more to cover this week. If you guys are enjoying season one, if you guys have enjoyed this video and learned something, you guys already know what to do. Smash that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new here, turn those bell notifications on if you want to know every time I post a new video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Preach out.